Good evening. We're going to take a quick look at this Orion MotorTech coil spring compressor tool. I gotta say, I wish I would have got one like this a long time ago. Of course, you got a simple operating manual. You should read it, but it is also a fairly simple and self-evident style of tool, I will say. So that's what you see in the box is basically the entire tool. Of course, one of these is sliding and one of these blocks is threaded, and you will turn this with a large wrench. You can kind of see that it comes coated in a good protective oil. You have safety pins here, very important because well, springs are dangerous, and if you don't have a healthy appreciation for them, it will bite you one day sooner or later. This is beautifully simple compared to, I just have to show briefly here. I wish I would have bought this years ago. In this old coffee can, I have my previous version of the tool. This is what you don't want. This is absolutely bogus. This setup here, where it's basically a glorified long bolt, and you have these stupid U-bolts with a jillion little nuts a piece to lose, and you have to get these are so fiddly, these versions like this. They are not worth the time, and they don't even come with a case typically. The one that I did didn't, so it's just a bucket of junk. It's two big bolts and a bunch of U-bolts. This is so much more simple and so much more elegant. I've wanted to show it on a car, but I don't really have time. I've got a spring that's already off the car, so I can probably show how much faster it is to set this up. If I wanted to compress this spring for installation, I probably would have went lower technically, but you put your safety pins in there, run this bolt up, which in this case, this small spring would take a lot of turns. You should do that with a regular wrench. I would not recommend using a power tool for springs. It's just too gnarly when springs explode or when they break. So obviously you'd install one on one side. Once you reach this point, you start tightening it up. Very simple and easy, but you never ever want to do one side only. I have a really nice foam block to hold these in here. If I can pull that out, there it is. Nice foam block. The box basically is its own storage case. Again, these pins, they're captive, they're easy to deal with, and I think being that it's threaded, you could reverse this if you had a need to spread a spring or something like that. That would be possible with these as well. So you would do both sides of a spring evenly, like this. There we go. And you put your safety pins forward. Not that that ever means a whole lot once you're squeezing down on them, but if the spring did break, then it would mean something. This example here on the ground isn't the best, but you know, that's essentially how they work. Is you get these on either side of the spring. Maybe it would be clear if the box wasn't there. Get them on either side of the spring. You slowly and evenly tighten up both of these. Personal recommendation, I would say don't use an impact gun on these. You can, you shouldn't. And it's a little bit slow, but you should creep up on these by hand, carefully and gradually, even on both sides. Compress that spring down for installation. So much easier to set that up versus these other styles where you fuss and fuss with these jankety U-bolts. The U-bolts get bent usually in the process of trying to get them on there, and you're dealing with it's just a circus. This is the way to go right here. This is a really nice little product. I'm glad that I finally have the proper type of tools for this sort of thing, with way fewer moving parts and just so much simpler and easier to use. So there's your Orion Motor Tech spring kit, and I would say that one is for sure a 5-star product that anybody who deals with their own suspension nonsense ought to own a nice set of these.